Alpha is that moment when you are able to heal, when your blood pressure is normal, when your blood sugar is normal, when your heart rate is normal. And wouldn't it be great? Because a lot of people are on high blood pressure medications, they're on diabetic type 2 medications, when a lot of this stuff normally should be in a normal range. And it is. It's what we call essential high blood pressure is blood pressure that is required to sustain the fight or flight moment. What we call high blood sugar most of the time is necessary to sustain again that fight or flight response. And the same thing with tachycardia, high heart rates. All of these things are essential to what we perceive to be going on in our environment. So the alpha frequency is a great way to be able to get back into a relaxed state. And I'll talk to you about the vagus nerve and how medicine has actually discovered this. And why would I say they've actually discovered it? Is because up to now, the medical community has never seen it essential or necessary to include the brain in the healing process. Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy. Yes.
My mother used to tell me, John, you're responsible for your actions. I mean, my brain is running the show. Yeah, your mind lives in your brain, and it's your mind that's causing the problems. So we're finally discovering that the vagus nerve can normalize the body at any given time. It can put the brakes on inflammation that's responsible for more than 4,000 diseases. And this is running away now with the reasons why sepsis exists, why people die from sepsis, septic shock, why people are picking up diseases that are caused by inflammation, so on and so forth. It's all controllable through the vagus nerve, which actually controls our fight or flight response and can put us into an alpha state. So normally now, if you look at the 783 program, the Schumann wave program, it doesn't sit at one specific frequency. This program will actually give you 783 hertz, but the natural harmonics, the mathematical harmonics of it also climb to 14.3, 20.8, 27.3, 33.8, and the device will take you to each one of these frequencies after 7.5 seconds. It will ramp up to the next and ramp up to the next and so on and so forth. So you have a beautiful program that actually can take you into a relaxed state, but these other frequencies are not necessarily pure alpha frequencies. But they are the 783 harmonics are the best healing frequencies that we know of. So we decided to put them in there.
Right. So by just placing the device on and you do 783, it's going to cycle through all those other frequencies as well.
Now, where do you put it is one of the questions that you might ask. One of the things that we have been able to do, and I've been able to do it with my daughter, for example, who had broken her leg and as a dancer and at night needed to be able to get that recuperative sleep without having her on meds. What I did was I was able to use 783 harmonics.
Okay.
Oops.
Oops. Okay. Gone. Okay.
That's still, I'm hoping I don't get one of those either. Now, 783 harmonics, now one of the ways that I've been able to treat my daughter is by taking one of the leads that actually has 2 reds and 2 black.
Okay.
One red on the other foot and 1 black on the other hand. And I ran 783, which put her to sleep almost immediately.
Wow.
And she would sleep in her best sleep possible all night long. And then the next morning she would wake up totally refreshed and ready for school, and as if nothing had ever happened.
Wow.
She would dance around on her crutches and off she'd go.
Okay, so let me just stop you there. So that's where those pads come in, right? Those conductive pads.
That's when the pads. That's when you get the best effect from your pads.
Okay, so you would put one pad on the bottom of your foot, one pad on your palm, or right, and you plug it in, and then how long does it run for?
It'll run by itself for an hour and then shut off automatically.
Okay.
So you don't have to worry about it running all night.
Oh, okay. So you just put it on, place it on the foot, the palm. Does it matter if it's the same side or opposite side?
I like to use the same side and not to cross the spine at this point. And I'll tell you why on a later, more advanced session why you want to do that.
Okay.
But in the meantime, just put one red, same side, at least one red on the foot, one black on the hand. Cross over to the other side. Do one red on the other foot, one black on the hand. That way you'll be running right from the longest way through the body. On the foot, you'll find what we call kidney 1. It's right at the pad of the foot, in the middle.
Right.
And if you do kidney 1 right to the palm of the hand, you're running it right through the body.
Right. So it's kind of that kidney 1 is like the center of your palm, and it's like the center of your foot right under in the middle of the foot, right under the pad.
That's right. You see the pad and then the toes. So you just want it right at the pad itself.
It's like right in the middle. Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, one of the things about kidney 1 is that we know in Chinese medicine that kidneys and bladder are connected to fear and insecurity.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And fight or flight is connected to fear and insecurity, right?
Right.
And what keeps you from sleeping is fear and insecurity, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So we're putting it on the major points, which will also calm that fear and insecurity and permit you to be able to get better sleep.
That's great.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So this could be done on a child. It could even be done. Can it be done on an infant?
You can do it on just about anybody. This technology is actually used in Russia and all over the world, and they'll use it on neonatals as well.
Wow. Yes.
To jumpstart the breathing mechanism in neonatals.
Wow.
So yeah, we can use it on. It doesn't really matter what age.
Okay.
It's all in the power setting. Really. You can run it without any power on the younger children, and your brain will pick up on it.
Oh wow.
Because they're a lot better hydrated than we are.
Yeah. But without any power on? Is that what you're saying?
You just turn the power on, but don't put any power on. Don't hit the right arrow.
Wow. Okay. I got that.
Yeah. So let's get back to 15 hertz. Now the next, I'll go over to your device over here, and the next one down would be 15 hertz. Now that first one is what we call a full algorithm, where it delivers all of these different frequencies. Now the second one down will be 15 hertz, and 15 hertz is one of the frequencies that's demonstrated decrease in skin necrosis, stimulation of capillary formation, fibroblast proliferation, and it does all of these things. So anything that has to do right over here with healing the skin, eczema, so on and so forth, this is a great way to be able to do it. And I wouldn't be afraid of using it in psoriasis or that sort of thing as well, because in psoriasis the skin cells are premature, right. So they go into what we call a blastic state. Right. So this will help mature the cells normally at 15 hertz.
Okay, so any skin irritation, any eczema, psoriasis. How about like any itchiness, if there's any dermatitis?
I would definitely use 15 hertz for that.
Okay.
You have to be careful as well. As you know, a lot of times the things that happen on the skin is caused by stuff that we are in contact with daily. It could be latex gloves, that sort of thing in our work. Because people pick up allergies to things that they're constantly in contact with. Okay. The next one down will be 30 hertz right here. And 30 hertz is for the stimulation of elastic tissue and insertion points. Now, these insertion points are, if you look at, take the skin away from the body, from the anatomy, and you'll notice that what runs the muscles are actually ligaments and tendons. And where the meat, the muscle, is what we call an insertion point. And a lot of times, a lot of damages that we can cause to ourselves on overexertion are these micro tears right at the insertion point itself. And one of the reasons why it takes so long to heal these things is that there's not a whole lot of blood flow to tendons and to ligaments. Right. That's why we put horses down. I don't. But we hear about it in the equine world, that horses are put down regularly because they have picked up a leg wound or some kind of a leg trauma. And legs in the horses are almost all ligaments and tendons, not much blood flow. And we have found a way to be able to fix horses with microcurrent, because it's known that microcurrent increases blood flow.
Wow. Okay. So would this be for sprains, for injuries like that, or
sprains, injuries involved in those insertion points, and they could be like tennis elbow, for example. Mm-hmm. So if tennis elbow is bothering your A game, you might want to use this particular program right here, 30 hertz, to rebuild. Well, but I'll tell you a little bit more, that you can't rebuild until you get inflammation out.
Right.
So I'll take you through some of those anti-inflammatory frequencies that are built into the device.
And that's, I just want to emphasize that point you just made. I think that's really important for people to hear and understand. So do you just want to reiterate that about the importance of taking inflammation down?
Yeah, inflammation is thousands of years ago, 2,000 years ago, some physician sitting in a Roman, in some Roman healing room,
steam bath,
yeah, next to the forum, and he had figured out, and he wrote in his notes, that inflammation always carries these harbingers, these characteristics, and one of them with inflammation is always heat. And the inflammation has to do with like fire, flame, inflammation, redness, heat. So redness and heat are always characteristic of inflammation. And so is swelling. Swelling is always there as well. And so is pain. So you have redness, pain, swelling, and heat. So inflammation equals those four, plus a fifth that was added later on, which is a loss of range of motion. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what are the harbingers of inflammation? Redness, heat, swelling, pain, and loss of range of motion. Okay. And how do you know when you've arrested inflammation? Or you've arrested the 5 elements that are causing it. And you can feel heat with your hand. If you put your hand on, if you have a sore knee and you put your hand on that sore knee, you can feel it hotter than the other. So what you'd want to do is you want to put that fire out before you can even hope to regenerate any tissue. Okay. That's one of the biggest problems with inflammation, is that does it go on for days, months, years, decades even? Is because we haven't found a way to be able to put it out. When we're starting to realize that inflammation is actually one of the healing components of the body. It needs to go through a level of inflammation and then heal. But that inflammation is actually an electronic event. It concerns atoms and electrons and free radicals. And free radicals are actually electrons that are not paired.